You can't become one if you don't combine your money. Don't start your life together off in a huge debt because of one day.
Before you swipe that credit card for the dress, the venue, the honeymoon, ask yourself, will this memory be worth the years you'll spend paying for it?
Don't let anybody other than you and your spouse decide what you're going to do on your wedding day. Everybody has an opinion.
Today, we're dissecting the seductive myth of the dream wedding and exposing how that single event can destroy your finances, strain your relationships, and overshadow the love it was meant to celebrate.
Treat your wedding day as it's our grand opening, but it does nothing other than open the doors for business. It doesn't define your marriage based on what you do on your wedding day.
If you're planning to start your marriage with a financial hangover you can't shake, you need to hear this before you say, I do.
Welcome to the Jason Magar Podcast. We're reviewing the business of relationships. We're currently on Chapter 4. Chapter 4 is the launch, getting open for business or the wedding day, depending on the way you look at it. Chapter 1 was making sure that you're the right person so that you can proceed forward into the interview phase. Chapter 2 is the interview. Does the person have all the qualities I need to be a spouse, or who's going to be my business partner along the way? Chapter 3 is really establishing the business plan. What are we going to do once we open for business? What's our mission, vision, and purpose? And what's our why in getting married? Why are we getting married? Not just because we love each other, but really helping to get you to the point that when you launch, you are going to be in a place where you can do this successfully.
The business grand opening, wedding day. But before that, you've spoke to me about not going in debt for your wedding day because it's actually not that important. That could hurt a lot of feelings. Can you explain what you mean by that and why you have good intent behind it?
Sure. A lot of people, when you're engaged, especially brides, this is the biggest day of my life. And opening a business, there's a lot of excitement. It's awesome. It's great. It's this, it's that. You can invest $100,000 in a wedding. And the two of you invite everybody, your neighbor when you were 1 year old, and you bring everybody you've ever met in your entire life to share in that day with you. Then you launch your business and you're like, wow, we're $100,000 in debt. And most of it was a blur because it doesn't have to be this huge, extravagant event. Bring the people that matter the most to you. Bring the people in and do what makes you guys happy. People are like, oh, we have to have an open bar. Why? Why do you want to pay for people to drink on your dime? They're coming there. If they want to drink, cool. I'm willing to give you soda and water, but you want something more extravagant? That's on you. I'm afraid to offend people. It's okay. It's your wedding. You decide what you want to do. Don't let others dictate what you want to do. If your parents willing to pay for it, say, what's my budget? And if it's going to put your parents in a hardship, don't put them in a hardship. Only do what is fiscally responsible, and don't start your life together off in a huge debt because of one day.
Do you counsel couples that go into debt for this?
I have counseled many people that are carried a lot of debt and they overpaid and they regret it. They're like, man, we've got to work the next 3 years to pay for that one day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We did open bar, we had filet mignon, how many people have come back a year later and gone, man, that was the best filet mignon I've ever eaten in my life.
I wonder whose weddings I've been to that people that have done that you just never know.
Yeah.
And they're just secretly dealing with that. It's not worth it.
Yeah. And then our honeymoon is this extravagant, we're $150K in debt. And we make $50,000 a year each. And you've basically spent a year and a half of both of your salaries for one day.
The point is across, but I guess what would you personally hyper focus the budget or effort around that was really worth it to you?
Who do we want to share that day with us? It's not about inviting enough people so that you get enough gifts that it makes it worth it. You don't need, we have a Vera Wang salad bowl. We put it on our registry. We've never used it. I mean, it looked cool. It was nice. It was like, oh, okay, let's scan it. It's not that important. Angel and I focused on what is the right size for us. And we did a wedding on a boat in the Potomac. It was 50 people. You couldn't add more.
Yeah, 50 people is still like a lot. That's like gives you a full day of talking to everybody. You still probably didn't get to have very deep conversations with anybody.
But we said, somebody, oh, can I bring my third cousin? We're at 50. It's a boat. We can't add anyone else. Sorry. made the conversations real easy. We're at 50. We're done. And we paid what was reasonable. We also, it was really cool because we made all the decisions up front and then we just showed up. Everything was taken care of.
Such as?
We picked our flowers. We picked the cake. We picked it all in one day. And then we just showed up. There was no us setting it up. A lot of people wanted, your wife wanted to do every flower arrangement. That's a lot of work.
She did that the night before, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of stress. I want you to roll into the wedding stress-free going, you know what? I'm going to share my love with the people I love and that matter to me. I want the people there that are going to help me launch my business and be successful. When I do a wedding, I ask the congregation to pray for the couple, that we're willing to support them throughout this process. When you're in business, you want people that are going to support you. My dad could fix anything. So it was really cool when I'd launch something and be like, hey, Dad, can you take care of this for me? I brought in help. Why? Because he can do it. And he does it well, and he likes doing it. So it's really just about, this is just a one day. It is your wedding day. You'll remember a couple items from it as the years go on, but you're not going to remember everything. The coolest part of our wedding day was Angel's dad died 3 months after we got married. And he was there. And it was really cool that he was there. And that will always stick in my mind because he had dementia and Angel had asked her brother to walk her down the aisle because she didn't know how her dad would be on the day of the wedding. And he got to the boat and I was up top and Angel was downstairs getting dressed and he come over to me. He's like, where's Angel? And he's like, I'm her dad. I'm going to walk her down the aisle. I'm like, yes, you are, sir. You should. She's right down those stairs over there. And he walked her down the aisle. And it was so cool because that was worth it. Everybody else, I don't remember what we ate. I don't remember everybody that was there, but I'll never forget him being there.
What is your hope for the reader to feel good about and know what to stay away from when it comes to the grand opening now outside of being financially setting your expectations right and having intent behind spending money and not just doing it just to do it?
Don't let anybody other than you and your spouse decide what you're going to do on your wedding day. Everybody has an opinion. Oh, you should ride in on a grand stallion I don't like horses. I'm not riding a horse. Thanks. This is what we're going to do and do that. Don't let other people decide, well, I went to somebody's wedding and they did this and it was phenomenal. Do you want it? Is it something you want part of your day? No, don't do it. You don't have to please others. If your parent is paying for it, obviously they get a little more input, but you and your spouse agree, here's what we're willing to do, here's what we won't do, and these are our non-negotiables, just like you had it in hiring. Have your non-negotiables for that opening day. And don't overdo it because there is stress leading up to it. The day of the wedding, somebody's always going to have something that just doesn't go just perfect. At the end of the wedding, you're tired and you've been smiling all day as you get picture after picture after picture taken. You try to talk to everybody. If you got 1,000 people there, that's a lot of talking. And then you're supposed to go be on the honeymoon and it's going to be awesome. And then you're tired. Take a honeymoon. I know a lot of people, we're going to defer our honeymoon. I'm like, take at least 2-3 days afterwards to recover. And then go enjoy life. There's lots of businesses. I don't care how much you advertise. The day you open the doors, you get 2 customers. You're like, wow, my business failed. We did all this and it's just a day. Treat your wedding day as it's a day. It's our grand opening, but it does nothing other than open the doors for business. It doesn't define your marriage based on what you do on your wedding day.
Wedding day happens. The following, your honeymoon is a great time to sit and think and talk and have a lot of long discussions. And, you want everything to feel different after. What do those following couple months look like, and what do you recommend couples do with that time? How do they use that with intent specifically?
Yeah, the honeymoon is a great retreat. We'll call it your corporate retreat where you regroup and get ready. But it is now, how do we set an operating plan that works? And every business has a operations plan. If you get hired, a lot of places will hand you an employee handbook. It's the rules, it's the do's and don'ts, it's the expectations. And this is where you transition the business plan from here's what we want to do when we're open to here's how we're going to do it when we're open. I'm the CEO and CFO of our house. Angel is the COO. If it's operations, it's Angel. And making sure you launch the business right. A lot of people have good intentions. You start doing business and you get sloppy and you get lazy and you don't do the important things. You're open for business, you do it right from the get-go. Every position I've held of leadership, I always had a staff meeting at least once a week. Why? So I get the whole team on the same page. Launch your marriage. We're going to do a family meeting every single week. We're going to have date night every single week. I did all these activities when I was single. Now that I'm married, can I keep doing them? No. How do we make it work? And in 25 years of knowing Angel, I've never compromised. And when we got married, I was doing the softball ministry. And we were a church team, played in the city league. I'd asked the other teams to pray with us. And we got married, and I did three leagues, and I subbed another. So basically, I was playing 8 games a week, 4 nights. And we get married, and Angel goes, I don't want you going 4 nights a week playing softball. It's my mission field. It's what God called me to. You're going to interfere with the Lord's work. She goes, we need to figure out a way to make it work. So we had conversations, and I'm like, well, what works? She goes, I want you gone 1 night a week. I said, do you care how many leagues I play in that night? She said, nope. So I played 3 leagues in 1 night. We both got what we wanted, but it took us figuring out how do we take single operations and turn them into married operations. And
what was her motive behind just not wanting to be away from you that long, or wanting more quality time, do you think? Or
if I was gone 4 nights a week, where is our together time? When you launch a business, there's a lot of things you haven't thought about. We haven't hired the right person for this. Oh my God, I didn't realize you need to be together for that launch. You both have to be hands-on. You both have to be involved. And it's that willingness to say married life looks different than single life.
Did you have distaste when she brought it up?
Probably. Why are you changing me? And children of divorce view relationships as every man for themselves. Children of parents who were married their entire life view relationships, we're in this together. When Angel brought that up, I viewed we're each in this for ourselves. It took me a lot of time of being with Angel to accept we're in this together. And that was a transition for me because I am a product of divorce. It doesn't mean you can't be successful. It just means be aware that, yeah, I probably took things a little bit more as she was an obstacle in me getting what I wanted versus we need to figure it out together. How we
just wanted to take a quick break from the episode. Hope you're enjoying it. I would love to help revolutionize your relationship. I will be releasing The Business of Relationships, and you can get your copy on pre-order. If you want to click below, give me your information. I will alert you as soon as the book is ready. I'm working really hard to compile my 18 years of experience of studying relationships and my 30 years of business experience to help get this together in a way that makes sense, that you can build your relationship, prepare yourself for a relationship, interview the candidates for your marriage, and then successfully run a business household that allows your relationship to succeed in a way that it never would without this framework. I hope you're enjoying.
What were the following couple months after that, like when you did make that change? Well, from your eyes, because you had to process, I've got to change. You start doing it different. I'm sure you had fun that one night a week, but there was probably a part of you that missed the old way. But was there pros that were outweighing the cons, and then it helped you like be okay with it?
I got to do what I wanted. I just compressed it. And looking back, I really didn't miss anything. It actually made it easier on me. Because 4 nights a week is a lot. And I went to the gym 3 hours a day, 6 days a week back then. That's a lot of time not being at the house. But one of my non-negotiables was Angel was in the gym with me, or she was already working out, and Angel would go to the gym with me. If I was doing softball 4 nights a week, it would be really hard for us to actually have that time together. It was fine when I was single because it was me and the dog. And the dog didn't care how much I was gone. And so it was really just that transition to, okay, we're in business and we're in this together, and it's not going to be the same. And I'll get guys in premarital and they're like, my wife better never interrupt me during a football game. Football's my jam. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, then don't get married. Because you know what? If football's more important than your wife, not a good plan. Softball, not more important than my wife. And the priorities are always God number 1, spouse number 2, children number 3, friends and family number 4, what you do for others number 5, and what you do for work number 6. If I got mad with Angel, I'm putting number 5 in front of her. I don't let my priorities get out of order. I always assess where in my priority ranking does this fall.
Continue back where you were in regards of guiding us down the road of creating that operating agreement and figuring that out. And what does that look like? And continue painting that picture. I have the intention understood, but can you speak a little bit more to the specifics?
So we'll look at finances. As one area. That's financial operations is important. And business plan, we said, here's how we're going to do finances. And what was your plan going in? I always teach people you can't become one if you don't combine your money. And if you keep them separate, it's always a negotiation. You'll write out, hey, we're each going to pay for this, but when an unexpected comes up, who pays for it? So how do we do that? Well, you can't just merge bank accounts. So You go launch the bank account. You get everything in there. You do the paperwork when you change your name. There's paperwork to it. You got to get a new license. You got to do all of these things that allows you to operate. And you're never going to think of every small thing. So it's adding into the operating plan. Here was our idea of what it looks like. Now that we're doing it, how do we actually make it work? It sounds great. Oh, yeah, we're just going to do it and love's enough. Well, who's going to be in charge of calling timeout when an argument gets escalated? Who's going to be responsible for dealing with work issues? Who's going to be responsible for doing repairs? If the AC breaks down, who's the one that's going to call? Do we operate from whoever has the bandwidth, or do we operate from, well, that's a man job because the man has to talk to him because the woman's afraid it's going to be taken care of? Let's set it down. Let's get those emergency contacts. Let's get each other's passwords. Let's get us combined and doing life as a couple. It takes a lot of work to transition from single to married. It is a change of perspective. It is a change in the way you do things, because you don't just get to consider, this is how I've always done it, so this is how we will do it. I tell people that marriage is creating a culture. The house I grew up was a culture. The house Angel grew up was a culture. When we get married, we're combining and creating our own culture. We as Magar Inc. do things like this. It's not the way, the things we liked, we kept. The things we didn't like, we got rid of. And then we're moving it forward. Part of our marriage was ending dysfunction. And when we launched the business, how do we do it? We have to figure this out together, because neither of us had a good, healthy example of how to do it. What are we going to do different? Are we both lockstep agreement that when we start doing something that looks like dysfunction, we immediately stop it, we address it, and figure out a new way to do it?
What else comes to mind on the grand opening day, wedding day, you're getting married? What else comes to mind that we need to be thinking about?
A lot of times a bride will say, my mom really stresses me on the wedding day. You have a plan for who's going to keep mom away from the bride on the wedding day. Hey, these people are always going to be late. Can you make sure that there's a plan for them to be able to get into the venue, even if they show up late? Hey, we don't think this is going to happen. Can we set a backup for these types of people, these types of roles? The other things to consider leading up to the grand opening: who's going to do what tasks? Have kind of a punch list, a burn down list. These are the 15 things that need to get done. We call it put a belly button to each action item. Who's that person that's going to make sure these are going to happen? Hey, mom's really good at this. Let's have her do these 3 things. Or if we give mom these 3 things, she's going to do it her own way and not do what we want. So we're going to do these. Husband to be, you do these. Wife to be, you do these. Who's gonna book the honeymoon? Who's gonna book the hotels? Have all those conversations and have that punch list that allows you, when you have the grand opening, it's going to be as seamless as possible. And you can't think of everything. So you're relatively experienced in your grand opening. What are some of the things you didn't think about that would be good to tell somebody leading up to their wedding? Hey, I wish I would have thought of this.
I could think of one thing that Ariana did pivot right before was when it was a couple weeks out. Ariana had planned everything herself. She wanted to do all the details willingly, knowingly, excitedly about it because she's a planner. Not everyone is, but in that instance, she was also thinking, since I planned everything, I'm just going to be the one that runs the show that day. A couple weeks prior, she had the realization of like, oh gosh, I don't think I want to do that. So then she found a day of planner that she hired. And that was one of the biggest takeaways was after the wedding. She was like, that was the best money we spent, hands down, was just knowing that she gets very overwhelmed in that type of scenario with that type of responsibility, as anybody would, honestly. So with that level of detail that she had and the expectations she had, she knew the bandwidth wasn't going to line up with that. And so that's when we brought in the day of planner, which it wasn't even that much more money. It wasn't even that expensive, but it made all the difference in the fluidity of the day. That was one thing. We went very casual with the dinner plans. We had like street taco stand that came, that was like aesthetic and everything, of course, but like it wasn't super expensive. Everybody loved the food. It was super good. Going above and beyond with food, we felt like it wasn't really worth it. And it turned out everyone was super stoked and had fun. It saved us money. Everyone had good food. We weren't trying too hard. I think there's a lot of expectation on like, it's got to be like $100 steak. And I've been to a friend's wedding that spent dang near the same money on food as they did the whole venue. And it was a really good steak, but that's a lot. You could do a lot of things with that. Just keeping it stupid simple, in every way, in whatever way is applicable to your plans, paid off and was worth it. You can always go above and beyond on certain details, but when we look back, we're so glad in the areas that we forced ourselves to keep it stupid simple. We're glad we did. There wasn't anything that we were like, oh man, I wish I would have went over the top on this. You'll never have that thought, because it's going to be as overwhelming as you think it will. But if you try hard to plan for that, like we did, and strip away those things that you know will make you overwhelmed, it will pay off tenfold. And I feel like we were super intentional about not going too big, too small, and just focusing on us and what makes us tick. It was like we have nothing. I smile right now because I think about that. It was like one of the coolest days. It was a great memory all across the board, from the moment we woke up, the day before, the day after, everything about it, because we were super intentional and honest and vulnerable with each other. And if there's something that I just was like, no, she'd be like, okay, like I'll compromise on that. And then I would compromise on other things. And we respected each other all the way through from beginning to end. And it shows in how much we enjoy looking back on it, which is, I feel like, should be the goal. Starting at the end is probably a good way to do it. What makes a good memory? If I'm overwhelmed the whole time, that's going to ruin it. Well, what do we got to do to make sure that doesn't happen? Or if the food's bad, I'll never want to think about that day or something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. It's funny you say that, because thinking back, I can't, and I've been to a lot of weddings. Wow, that person had the worst food. I have absolutely no idea who it was. I don't even remember who had the best food and who had the worst food. I remember the last food, and that was your wedding, because that's the last one I went to. But the tacos did go off great. It was really good. It was really easy, and it worked really, really well. So I think that's great advice.
I think it's you can kind of create an energy at an event like that. And the only way you can create a good energy is just being brutally honest with yourself and your guests, and just being clear. To recap chapter 4, it's just a day. Can be the most exciting day of your life, but you can also turn it into the worst day of your life. So not being financially irresponsible, having realistic expectations, communicating with your partner, being honest with yourself when you're creating those plans. I would say starting at the end is something that's a big takeaway of, how do I want this memory to play out in my head, and then reverse engineer a plan that follows suit to be able to create that memory. And the day of, making sure there's roles established and in play to protect the peace and keep the energy and keep everything good.
Chapter 5 is going to be, now that you've opened the doors, your grand opening really is kind of a soft opening, because you're not really doing business. You're inviting people. When you do a soft opening, you hand select people that you want to come and check the business. That's your grand opening. That's your wedding day. After that, you have your honeymoon, which gives you the ability to kind of learn from, hey, here's what went well in the grand opening. We enjoyed it. Looking back and going, we've got our life together. So the doors are open. Now what do we do? Chapter 5 is really setting you up for, here's what you need to do to move from, we open the business, now how do we run the business?